Okay, so I only have 2 days of studio time this week because I'm heading down to Tacoma to be on a What is the Future of Textile Waste panel for the Chaya movement. I've mentioned this in the last couple of videos. Super excited about that. But 2 days isn't a lot of time to get a lot of projects done. Originally, I had planned on taking this week off and focusing on getting prepped for the panel, and also my brother's getting married on Saturday, so there's a lot happening this week. But as I started thinking about it this morning, I did a little self-care. I volunteered all day yesterday, and I was really exhausted this morning, so I just got up, self-care, took the nail polish off my nails, sat out in the sun for a little bit. And as I was just sitting there thinking about how little time I have to create, I realized that is a perfect topic for a video. So my goal for this week is to share with you some pretty quick upcycles that you can do when you're short on time. I don't know how many we're actually going to get done this week, but I do have some ideas that I want to share with you, and hopefully you'll get inspired and try one of these ideas on your own. All right, so for this afternoon, I only have about an hour and a half to get any sort of projects done. So I have an idea. I got these little drawstring pants. They're Dickies. They have, a few pockets on them, and I got them recently at a $5 fill-a-bag sale. So they probably cost me, maybe they were 75 cents. They were not very expensive. They're a little too long. So instead of just hemming them the old boring way, I feel like we could add a little whimsy to these pants by creating a waved hem. So that's what we're going to do for this first project this week. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to add a wavy hem to pretty much any garment that you want to add a little whimsy to. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is figure out the length. So I put them on, and I'm just estimating here. I'm just going to take this piece right here, and we're going to cut the same exact amount off of the second leg. So I'm just going to take some tailor's chalk and just mark all the way across. And as always, I always want to share mistakes with you. So because I was trying to do this quickly and I wasn't paying attention, my mind was a million different places. I folded the pants the wrong direction. So very important if you are doing this project, you need to, just like you're working on a seam. So if these are the bottoms of the pants, right? What we need to do is fold them this way and then put our scallop detail on. That way, when we fold them right side out, that'll be on the inside. Now, you can get really technical with this. If you were working on something that was more of an elaborate item that you really wanted to have perfection, you can figure out the math. You would just figure out the full amount all the way around your seam here. In my case, it's 18. And then you would figure out the shape of your scallop, so how big you want it to be. And you would divide that by the circumference. And that will tell you how many scallops you're going to get. You can use pretty much anything to create this design. You can use, this is just some washi tape. This is my ring for the back of my phone. And I think this is what I'm going to go with. So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to take whatever we're going to be using as our scallop, and essentially we're going to trace around, and we're going to end at a point. So when we're doing these scallops, here's a little sample that I made. So you want it to end at a point, so then that way you get these nice crisp scallops just like this. So I'm just going to start with this one, and then figure out how much you want to take off of the bottom. You're going to cut all of that off and fold it up. So we're just going to go with this. Again, these were an inexpensive pair of pants that I would like to wear. Okay, so I'm just going to go around like that. Then I'm going to put that on again. Pick up where I left off, go around, and we will continue this. All right, now I'm coming back to the end, and I can tell that I am not going to have quite enough space for two of these. So this is where I may decide just to do two smaller. Again, that's not going to bother me at all, to be honest. But let's just start with this big one here. And technically I could do that, but let's just do a little baby one here. Again, for me, it doesn't have to be perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our pants over to the machine and we're just going to stitch all the way. When you get to the corners, you're going to leave your needle in and you're going to pivot so that you get that sharp corner. Okay, so now what we're doing, because we have them facing the right direction, is I'm going to trim off all of the extra. And there may be some stitches that look a little wonky. They may not be perfectly straight because we're doing this curve. You can correct a lot of things when you press, and then we will just do a nice little top stitch to keep everything in place. That is the plan. So now that they're all trimmed, this is where we're going to push those little scallops to the inside. So I'm going to start just with my fingers, gently going around and just essentially turning it right side out. Then you're going to take your garment or pillowcase or whatever you are using. Then you're going to go and press the scallops so they stay in place. And then we'll just go back and do a top stitch. Okay, it's a little after 3 and we're going to call it a day. My dog just came up to get me to come down and hang out. They're cute. I will say it's kind of like pirate chic. That's the vibe I'm getting. I feel like this would actually look cuter on a top or on a sleeve. I'm not sure I really like it on the pants, but I needed these pants cropped anyway. So this angle is not really that great, but I think that they are pretty and they might actually be cuter if I put a fabric underneath them and did maybe like a tulle or did a top stitching in a different color. That could be really cute, but I don't hate them. And in fact, I will certainly wear them. I'll wear them more at this length than I would have, at that really long length. So happy accidents, again, cut to a better length. But now I can kind of use these pants, I feel like, as a canvas. And because it's just like a cotton, nothing fancy. I can do some sashiko on here. I could do some additional visible mending. There's a lot of like staining throughout. I mean, again, I got them in a bag sale. They weren't in perfect condition, but they are going to be great for the summer as just a little throw on lounge pant. So I'm going to wrap it up today and we'll see what kind of adventures we'll get in tomorrow. All right. So as I'm packing this morning, I realized that there is something I've been meaning to make for a really long time, and that is a utensil roll. Now you may say, what the heck is a utensil roll? Why do I need one? Well, if you do any sort of traveling or even just going to a food truck or, at lunchtime heading out to get takeout, they almost always give you plastic silverware. This plastic silverware adds up, ends up in the landfill, doesn't decompose, and now we have more and more trash in the landfills. So one easy way to combat that is to bring your own silverware. Now, it can be a little awkward, right? Pulling out your own silverware. But if you make a cute little roll that you can keep your silverware in, maybe you're going to be more likely to use it. So I was really reminded of this weekend when I volunteered at the Black Earth Day event and, had some of the food and realized, even though it was an Earth Day event, they also were using disposable silverware, and I should have brought my own silverware at that time. So this is such an easy project. Essentially, we just need to create a rectangle, fold it in half, and then stitch some little slots to put our silverware in, and then add a ribbon to tie it together. That's it. Very quick project. And you can use the same concept for so many things. For if you use makeup, for your craft supplies, for carry-on, there's just so many uses for a little roll. So that's what I'm going to do first thing this morning. And then I have to head out. I actually have to go to the store. And, I try not to go shopping unless it's secondhand, but I need to get some things for traveling. Number one, I need to get something for my nails. They're hideous. And since I'm on this panel, it'll just give me a little bit more confidence if I have my nails, even with just like a clear coat. That would be enough. All right, so here are my silverware. We're just going to lay these out. And this is what you can do so that you can figure out the size. And while, yes, there are kind of some standard sizes you could use, it's probably better if you go to the thrift store or if you find some utensils that you want to measure them. Some are longer than others. And then I'm just going to throw this on the ribbon at the end. So this is about how big I want my piece to be. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It needs to be at least 9, but then you need seam allowance. We also want to have some distance on the sides. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's only 5 inches here, but I definitely want it so that it can roll up. So what I ended up doing, so these are 2 fabrics that I have been working with lately that I had some scrap of. This, you may remember, this is from the amazing organic Egyptian cotton sheet set that I got for $5. I still have so much of this. This is not the pillowcases yet. So we have this, and this is going to be the lining. And then we have this fabric here that I've also used quite a bit, and this is an upholstery fabric, so it's a little thicker. And because it's going to be, you know, a roll to make sure everything's safe, by using this, I don't have to use any interfacing. So I cut this, I just kind of laid everything out, and I cut this about 9 inches by 31 inches. So it's a little bigger with the bottom just because this stretches, but for me, 9 inches by 31 inches, and I'm just gonna use probably a 1/2 inch seam allowance, a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I should have plenty. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start by putting our right sides together, and then we're gonna go around and we're going to stitch all the way around, and then we're just going to leave a opening for turning. So that's what we're going to do. Stitch all the way around, leave a space right here for turning, and then we're going to turn it right side out, give it a good press. Then we'll do a top stitch all the way around. So I'm kind of changing my design a little bit. So I made this pretty long so that I would be pretty flexible. Then because this side is so long, I am actually going to fold it up just like this. So I'm going to fold it up, and then I'm also going to stitch the sides as well. And that's actually going to give us a little pouch here so we can put extra things like that. Or if you have a reusable napkin, you can put that in here as well, which is what I think I'm going to do. Okay, so we have everything stitched together. I actually did a top stitch here. The tension is not that great, but it works. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we are going to figure out our stitch lines. So however you want to line yours up. So if I put this in there and I stitch right along this little line here, I should be able to slip that in and out. So that's going to be my first line. Again, I'm just using the lines from the stripes to make my life easier. So that's going to be the first one. We're going to stitch along there, top to bottom. Then, okay, we are going to put in our next utensil, just to there. I have my straw, and that one doesn't have to be super big, but we'll leave this pocket, I think, a little wider. That way I can have space to put some extras in here if I need to. So this is the stitching order. So we're going to stitch all the way down and reinforce all the way down, 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 and down. We're just going to stitch all those together. That was such a quick and satisfying project. So here we have our little roll. This is just going to get thrown into my bag. And then we open her up, roll it open, and then look how cute. We have all of our utensils, and then our reusable fabric napkin is in there as well. I'm pretty impressed. I feel like all of my friends and family are gonna get one of these for the holidays this year. All right, so I'm here at UW Tacoma campus, and I am here to attend the What's the Future of Textile Waste Symposium, brought to you by the Chaya Movement, but I am a panelist on a community-led solutions panel. That's not until 1:30. The doors, I think, are open. I think it's a little after 10:30, and the opening portion is at 11. So let's go check it out.
Hi, everybody. I am Zakia Nicole, Executive Director and founder of the Chaya Movement. And today we are at our What's the Future of Textile Waste Symposium. And it is a brainchild of mine. After hosting clothing swaps for almost a decade, I learned very quickly that we need to do more than just swap clothes. We need to educate community. We need to engage in learning about how we can be conscious consumers, learn about the industry, learn about who we can support on the sustainability side when it comes to sustainable fashion and what are our options. there's just so much to learn. So really wanted to ensure that we provided a space that was free for community to come in, engage, learn. The Chaya movement has been around since 2022 in its current existence. We host community events. We run a summer internship program focused on educating and empowering future fashion folks on how they can be more conscious in how we design, how we source, focusing specifically on supply chain, and then also marketing and fashion writing. So they're able to engage in learning and being able to grow while working with the fashion brand who's doing that. And we also do cultural relevant events as well. So there's lots of things coming, so stay tuned. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of those places. We'd love to have you.
Hey everyone, I'm Tori Thurman. I'm actually a full-time craftivist, content creator and educator, and I work for a nonprofit called Spokane Zero Waste, where I run their sustainable sewing program, and we do a lot with our community.
Can you briefly share what your work looks like and why these solutions matter?
I can start. Totally.
Yeah, perfect.
So at Spokane Zero Waste, like I said, we run a sustainable sewing program, and this is really geared towards getting the community in, getting them excited about sewing, also mending. So we have another portion that is Mend It Cafe that we do in the community. So we're just trying to encourage folks to just, pick up a sewing machine, keep your clothing a lot longer, learn a new skill, and they're getting really inspired. And then they're coming to volunteer with us and mend clothing in our community. So we're keeping it in the community and we're making a difference. It's a huge thing. One other thing that I want to say about community too is you are sharing, a skill or something that you're passionate about, and you have someone that really resonates with that. And then they go back and tell, their daughter, or they go back and tell their husband or their partner, or they come to a class, or they pick up a sewing needle and repair something. That is still community-based. That's planting seeds, and we start there, and then it can go up. So I think it just has to start somewhere, and the community is where, we have that thread. You said fun, and that's what I was thinking about as well, because I think if it's not fun, people don't want to be a part of it. So if you make it fun, and also those of us that are in the space, we share our joy. We share what we're doing is so important to us. We love it. I mean, we can feel the passion in all of the panels already today. And I think that is how we're going to make this enjoyable. Content creators, right? We need to share. We need to be out there, and also encourage folks that it doesn't have to be perfect. And I think that's a big thing. We get hung up on, I'm going to mess it up. If it's damaged, if you're mending, you can't mess it up anymore. You can make it better.
So I just wrapped up, and that was amazing. I feel like I learned a lot of things that I didn't even know. I got inspired. The last speaker that I saw was talking about education, and actually at the college level, but a lot of it certainly can relate to what I'm doing at our community level. So now we've got the night. I'm gonna head back to the hotel, and we're gonna try to find a puppy-friendly venue so we can bring the dog.
Good morning. So we are getting ready to head out of Tacoma. We just had a really chill night last night. We got some takeout and just spent the night in the room, as we do. And so now we are going to head to Renton, which is not that far, like 45 minutes from here, because of the traffic, not because of the distance. That's the thing with a lot of the places in the U.S., especially here in Washington. We measure distance in time. Yes, we certainly do. So it'll be about 45 minutes that we are going to Wildwood Creative. It is a fabric shop, but it is so much more. I am very excited to go visit them in person. And I don't buy a lot of new fabrics. 100% I don't, but they do have some restashed fabrics, some secondhand fabrics, and also, it's okay to spend money, especially when you're supporting a small business. And also, I just want to see them in person. So that is what we are going to do this morning, and then we're going to go help my brother set up for the wedding. And that's the plan. All right, we just checked in to the Verbo. There's B. Lily's exploring around. And here is Mahal from Wildwood Creative. So this is really thick webbing. It's amazing, and I'm either going to use them for straps, I don't know, but I had to get them. I have 2 yards a piece. These are just some fat quarters with some fun fabrics. Again, I don't typically buy new fabrics, but I just couldn't resist them. They'll be used for a lining, maybe a pocket, something like that. I had to get a sticker for my sewing machine, a needle keeper. This was totally the splurge purchase. And then I wanted some labels, just fun little labels to put on my garments as I finish them. I do have my own brand labels, but there's just something adorable about getting a one-of-a-kind or this handmade label that just really, I just needed them. So anyway, very successful. Now we're gonna go set up for the wedding.